in a stentorian voice, "No Popery!" This favourite cry the rest re-echoed, and the mob, which might have been 200 strong, joined in a general shout. Mr Haredale had stood calmly on the brink of the steps until they made this demonstration, when he looked round contemptuously, and walked at a slow pace down the stairs. He was pretty near the boat, when Gashford, as if without intention, turned about, and directly afterwards a great stone was thrown by some hand, in the crowd, which struck him on the head and made him stagger like a drunken man. The blood sprung freely from the wound and trickled down his coat. He turned directly, and rushing up the steps with a boldness and passion which made them all fall back, demanded, "Who did that? Show me the man who hit me." Not a soul moved, except some in the rear, who slunk off, and escaping to the other side of the way, looked on like indifferent spectators. "Who did that?" he repeated. "Show me the man who did it. Dog, was it you? It was your deed, if not your hand. I know you." He threw himself on Gashford as he said the words, and hurled him to the ground. There was a sudden motion in the crowd, and some laid hands upon him, but his sword was out, and they fell off again. "My lord! Sir John!" he cried. "Draw, one of you! You are responsible for this outrage, and I look to you. Draw, if you are gentlemen." With that he struck Sir John upon the breast with the flat of his weapon, and with a burning face and flashing eyes stood upon his guard, alone, before them all. For an instant, for the briefest space of time the mind can readily conceive, there was a change in Sir John's smooth face, such as no man ever saw there. The next moment he stepped forward and laid one hand on Mr Haredale's arm, while with the other he endeavoured to appease the crowd. "My dear friend, my good Haredale, you are blinded with passion. It's very natural, extremely natural. But you don't know friends from foes." "I know them all, sir. I can distinguish well," he retorted, almost mad with rage. "Sir John, Lord George, do you hear me? Are you cowards?" "Never mind, sir," said a man, forcing his way between and pushing him towards the stairs with a friendly violence. "Never mind asking that. For God's sake get away. What can you do against this number? And there are as many more in the next street who'll be round directly." Indeed, they began to pour in as he said the words. "You'd be giddy from that cut in the first heat of a scuffle. Now do retire, sir, or take my word for it, you'll be worse used than you would be if every man in the crowd was a woman, and that woman Bloody Mary. Come, sir, make haste as quick as you can." Mr Haredale, who began to turn faint and sick, felt how sensible this advice was, and descended the steps with his unknown friend's assistance. John Gruby, for John it was, helped him into the boat, and giving her a shove off, which sent her 30 feet into the tide, bade the waterman pull away like a Briton, and walked up again as composedly as if he had just landed. There was at first a slight disposition on the part of the mob to resent this interference, but John, looking particularly strong and cool, and wearing besides Lord George's livery, they thought better of it, and contented themselves with sending a shower of small missiles after the boat, which plashed harmlessly in the water, for she had by this time cleared the bridge and was darting swiftly down the centre of the stream. From this amusement they proceeded to giving Protestant knocks at the doors of private houses, breaking a few lamps, and assaulting some strayed constables; but it being whispered that a detachment of Life Guards had been sent for, they took to their heels with great expedition, and left the street quite clear. Chapter 43.